Okay, good morning everyone. It's turned 10 o'clock, so we'll make a start. People will perhaps join us as we go along. I would ask you to keep your microphones on mute while you're not talking. So welcome today to our webinar, COVID Secure Hospitality Businesses, Your Questions and Answers. As you know, like much of the UK, Warwickshire has remained in Tier 3, and so our hospitality sector has been unable to reopen, except for those businesses who've been doing takeaways. This webinar has been organised to help provide some useful information for those operating in the industry and answer any questions you may have about operating now and also in the near future. It is brought to you by safety and regulatory colleagues from local borough, district and county councils. And many thanks to our partners at the Federation of Small Businesses, Coventry and Warwickshire Chamber of Commerce, Coventry and Warwickshire Growth Hub, Warwickshire Towns Network and the Business Improvement Districts for helping us to plan and promote the event today. Please note we're being recorded, so should you remain logged in, we take this as your consent to take part. The information today is current and correct to the best of our knowledge on the 18th of December 2020, so please note this if you're viewing at a later date. The format today will be for our panel to introduce themselves, and then we'll cover three key areas. They are, as you can see on the slide, what happens next, so a short outline of the timetable for tiering decisions over the coming weeks. We'll then talk about financial support and advice, so some information on where to go for support and what's out there. And then we'll talk about access to health and wellbeing support, so including information on our free to access EAP service, which we're extending now to the hospitality sector for independent businesses. So what that is and how to access it. So once we've covered that, we'll open up to questions from those on the call. You can raise your hand or submit your questions at any time via the chat function. So my name is Ian Flynn and I work in the Economy and Skills Service at Warwickshire County Council, and I'll be the facilitator for today. So now let's meet our panel.
Good morning everybody, my name's Aaron Coursey. I head up the Sustainable Communities team at Warwickshire County Council, and some of the work we've been undertaking over the last month has been relating to the support local, shop local, to ensure Warwickshire businesses are being shouted about across the world.
Hi everyone, my name is Gemma Stainthorpe and I'm Health Protection Programme Manager at Warwickshire County Council, here today from Public Health to give any advice on health related matters.
Good morning, my name's Henry Biddington, Principal Environmental Health Officer at Rugby Borough Council. We look at regulatory function across Warwickshire, and I'm part of an intel group with our colleagues from Warwickshire District and Boroughs, Trading Standards and the Police, and we've been doing that since March, looking at how businesses can stay COVID secure.
Good morning everybody, my name is Jonathan Toy. I'm the Group Manager for Trading Standards and Community Safety, and I've been involved in the Intel and Tasking meeting that Henry just talked about since March, advising businesses, and also helped set up the access scheme for small businesses who need help getting mental health support for their staff, themselves, during this difficult time. And we, as of today's meeting, want to expand that offer to people in the hospitality sector if they would find it useful. It's a free of charge service, and I'll tell you more about it later.
Good morning everybody, my name is Sergeant Paul Calvert from Warwickshire Police. I'm the licensing sergeant for Warwickshire, also involved with the COVID cell currently, and been involved in the Intel and Tasking group that's been mentioned since March as well. I'm here to give any advice that is required and any questions regarding hospitality and hopefully the future opening.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Anthony Atkins. I'm the team leader for Fire Protection Department within Warwickshire Fire and Rescue Service. I'll be here to answer any questions or queries regarding fire safety in your premises as and when you return, and then just any general fire safety questions beyond that as well.
Okay, so thank you, panel, for that. So moving on, I'm sure you'll share our disappointment that Warwickshire remains in Tier 3, but obviously there are good reasons for that, which we'll touch on. But we'd like to talk about what happens next around the tiering, how that works, and how decisions will be made. Who on our panel would like to pick up on that?
Yeah, I'm happy to just run through the dates that I'm aware of. Others might have more detail. So as far as I'm aware at the moment, obviously the tiering system will be reviewed every sort of couple of weeks. So there'll be another review date on the 30th of December and then again on the 13th of January. There'll be a vote then on the tiering system on the 27th of January. So just to see how that's working with regards to numbers. But just to kind of say, you know, we all kind of were hopeful, I think, for a Tier 2 situation at some point along the line. So I really want to kind of express, you know, our sort of feelings on that, because it is disappointing. With regards to the numbers, certainly in some areas of the county, they were starting to double. Again, sadly, over the last week or two, we were starting to see an increase in COVID positive cases again, starting to sort of see the increase of a peak. So I think that is sort of predominantly the reasons behind it. And I think obviously other tier systems who'd been in Tier 2 across the country had then experienced quite rapid rises. And we have to think about the time of year and how infections such as this are sort of quite dominant. So I think that was sort of some of the reasoning behind that. But those are the review dates as far as I'm aware.
Okay, thank you, Gemma. Does anybody have anything to add? Or are there any questions from those on the call? Oh, Jonathan.
Thanks, Ian. I don't know whether it's helpful just to kind of share a little bit of the current data, just so people on the call can understand what people are looking at and why some of those decisions are made. I think I'd like to echo what Ian and Gemma are saying. We were kind of hoping this call might be a different conversation, and to try and talk to you and support you about how and what you can do with the county moving into tier 2. It's not been the case, and there are from what I gather, and colleagues will say otherwise, I think it was a very close call about whether or not the county would drop down into a tier 2 area. But what we have seen over the recent week is we have seen our cases beginning to slightly climb. So where we were looking at our figures roughly about a week ago, this is 1st of December, you can see our rates were actually beginning to come down. You can see the curve here on this graph coming down, and then literally from around about the 4th, we started to see those rates climb, and it's pretty much climbed in most of the districts and boroughs. There are variations within each area, but genuinely we've seen the climb. And as Gemma has said, what we're actually beginning to see is a climb in some areas by doubling the rate. The thing we've been most, I'm going to flip through a few of these just because they're repetition of what I've just been saying. But one of the things we've been very keen to keep an eye on is the impacts on age groups as well. And what we're very conscious of is the over 60 age group has been a real focus for us, and we have seen, as you can again see from this graph, while the figures were coming down really nicely across the county through the latter part of November, those figures started to pick up again. And these increases within the over 60 age range is an area of concern, because what happens is then that increases the pressure on our hospital and hospital admissions, and we have seen that increase on pressure on our hospitals in the last 7 days. That's being reported through most of the meetings that myself, Henry, Gemma, Paul and others have been on. So this time last week, probably this time or beginning of last week, we'd probably be thinking, you know what, we're in a good place to go into tier 2. That change has started to take place. That pressure on hospitals, that rise in the over 60s, and that climb in terms of cases that have come through as a county. They're the reasons, they're the rationale behind it. So I know it's not an ideal situation, but it might give you a little bit of an insight about why those decisions are being taken as they have been. We want to get the county into tier 2. Don't be under any misapprehension of this. We as partners are determined to work for you as businesses and for the residents to get us into tier 2. The reality on the data and the direction is probably, our view is now wasn't quite the right time for the reasons I've just told you. It's not where we wanted to be. None of us wanted to be in this situation. But as I say, I hope that gives you a little bit of a context as to why the decision would be made locally.
Okay, thanks both. That's really helpful to see the data. I hope so. Is there anyone on the call who would like ask some clarification questions at all? Or is that all pretty clear? Okay. Well, if you do think of anything, obviously you can put your hand up or put a question in chat. So moving on to look at the support out there, the financial support, business support. Aaron, are you able to talk us through some of the funding that's available?
Absolutely. Well, I'll start from try and give a quick, brief overview, and then for our district and borough colleagues that are in the call might be able to step in as well for any sort of specific bits. So if I'll share my screen. Thank you to our business and economy and skills team for pulling together a quick slide here. So what we've tried to do is combine for everybody the current funding that's available. So on the left hand side there, we've got grants that were available for businesses with a rateable value. So can everybody see that? Just want to make sure.
Yes.
Yeah, brilliant. So on the left there, we've got the local restriction support grants. So for businesses that were closed during tier 3, those grants will continue. So I had a quick brief chat with Stratford District this morning, and they said their process is that it will continue and that businesses won't have to reapply. So for businesses that were getting those grants before, from the 2nd of December, they will continue now that we're in tier 3. There were also some sector specific grants that are available for nightclubs and other entertainment venues that will still continue. There's the wet pub grants that have been talked about from central government, but I believe that those are still in the process of being sorted. There's discussions about different terms and conditions within that. So the districts and boroughs haven't been able to give those out yet because of central government. And then on the right there, we've got those additional restriction grants. So these are additional grants that the districts and boroughs can give out. So they've been giving them out already, but there's details there of the individual pots available for the individual districts and boroughs. So they're mainly for the businesses that haven't been legally forced to close, but are severely impacted. So all of the information for all of those grants are available on the individual districts and borough websites. So you can find that information quite clearly. I had a nice Google this morning and was able to find that. At the bottom there in yellow, we've also got the bigger bounce back grant loans that are available from the banks, which have and the CBILS, which is the even larger business loans that are available. And both of those have now been extended until the end of January. They were due to close earlier than that, but they've just been extended. So as a brief overview, that's what's available at the moment. From a county council point of view, we've also got a pot of money that we're going to be being able to give out just after Christmas. So we're currently looking at a system for further business support for hospitality in the retail sector. And we're just going through all the finer details at the moment, but that will be launched just after Christmas. So there will be some other pots of money, but I can't say any more than that at the moment. I can't say about sizes or structure of the scheme, but there will be something coming out after Christmas. So as soon as we know that, we'll be putting that out through the networks, through comms and through the Warwickshire Towns network as well. So there's just a quick précis from me.
Thanks, Aaron. I suppose it's worth saying if you are a business and you've got no idea where to go, in the first instance, you can always go to the Coventry Warwickshire Growth Hub. They have a website and a dedicated phone line, and they will steer you in the right direction, whether that's to your district or borough council or to the county. So I hope that was clear. That was a nice chart there, Aaron. And we'll share links at the end of the webinar, which you can follow up to get more information. Were there any questions from anyone about that? Okay. Gareth, you have your hand up. You need to take yourself off mute. Sorry, Gareth.
Hiya, can you hear me?
We can now, thank you.
Just a quick question. So I've applied last month for the £2,000 grant for being closed, and then I rang up and spoke to somebody last week, and they said that they were sending out a new formula, so it wouldn't recur this month. So I've done it again now for this month. But I saw that one that says the £1,000 one-off grant for wet lead pubs. I previously thought that was pubs that didn't do food, but I mean wet lead. I mean we do our 75% of our takings is drink, but obviously we do food as well. So would I be entitled to that or not?
I don't know if Henry, you've got any more details. I was briefly talking to Stratford District this morning, and I think the full details and the legal terms and conditions that go with that grant is still being thrashed out in Parliament and through I believe there's now a talk of 49%, 51%, and it's still in that. It's all in the ethos at the moment about what a wet lead pub is and who would be eligible, and I think that's where they stand at the moment.
Yeah, that's also my understanding of the wet lead grub part. I spoke to one of my colleagues who looks after grants within rugby, and they sat in a meeting last week with the government department, and they're talking about it being anything. So if you do wet sales of more than 50%, then it's likely that you'll be eligible for that grant. But again, it's not been finalised yet, so I can't give you that as a definite answer.
So would your advice be just to apply for it regardless, and if we get it, we get it?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
That's a sensible approach. Thanks, Gareth. Good question. Was there anybody else with a question on that? No. Okay. Well, thank you. We can come back to it if we need to. So thanks, Henry. Thanks, Aaron. And then we were going to look at the support that's available for residents and for businesses around health and well-being, including the EAP service that's been extended from Warwickshire now to include the hospitality, independent hospitality sector and smaller micro businesses across Warwickshire. Gemma, were you going to pick up this one?
I will start. I know Jonathan's got more detail on the EAP, which is Employee Assistance Programme, and I'm sure he'll go into more detail, but just to kind of give an overview as well. Obviously this year has just been incredibly challenging for everyone, and you know, especially those who are, you know, not able to open businesses and things like that, and employees. Even if, you know, if you as yourself, if you're an employer, need support, that is out there, and we can run through what those options are. But also, you know, sort of think about your employees. Have you checked in with them? You know, is there somebody who perhaps might need a nudge in the right direction, or even just sharing this information amongst your employees so that they know that it's there and able to access. So with regards to the Employee Assistance Programme, as I said, I'll let Jonathan go into a bit more detail, and I know that Louisa was going to put a link in our chat function to where you can access the Employee Assistance Programme as well. But just while I'm here, I just wanted to run through some other sort of mental health provision that we have across the county. So on our website, I will share my screen. On our website, which here we are, hopefully you can see that. So on our website, which is warwickshire.gov.uk/coronavirus back to work guidance. If you sort of scroll down there, there is a specific section on COVID-19 mental health service information for business and staff. So this is sort of in addition to the EAP offer. I mean, the EAP offer will be, you know, really specific and very, very good. And it's something that's been provided to us and to lots of other services. But if you just scroll down here, there is actually a Warwickshire Mental Health Service information section. And this has been done by our mental health commissioners within the county council, and it is sort of tailored to during the COVID-19 outbreak, and I'll just literally scroll through a little bit. I'm not going to go through it all, but there is quite a wealth of information, quite a wealth of different services on here, obviously from the immediate support being required, and then to sort of specific areas that people might want to make a call to. For example, IAPT is a fantastic service that is available for people experiencing mild to severe anxiety and depression. So we've got things like that, and then we've got more sort of interactive resources as well. Every Mind Matters, and things like that, where you can just pick up information, have a read, and something might resonate with you, and you can kind of, you know, sort of make contact or use that information. There is obviously a wealth of info on here. So yeah, so I just wanted to share that as well. Obviously the EAP offer is quite specific, and Jonathan can go into a little bit more about that. But there is help out there, and I think, you know, it is important to kind of recognise that this year has been a year like no other, and it's perfectly okay to just sort of want to tap into any of that support.
Thanks, Gemma.
So if I just go on to talk about the scheme that we've set up for businesses within the county, just want to start by saying if people want to access a support service, it's really important they've got the ability to access a support service that suits them best. And that's part of the reason why there are so many services available through the county, because it's about the service that people feel will suit them best at that moment in time. So what we're not being is prescriptive. If you've got members of your staff or you personally would like some support or assistance in terms of mental well-being, those services are out there, but we have specifically set up or expanded our own council employment assistance scheme so that you can access it, or your employees can access it, people working for you, free of charge. There's no cost to you. There's a process that we ask you to go through, and it's extremely complicated. It's not really. It's not a government grant. I'm going to share, if I can, quickly the form. What we ask businesses to do is basically just register. And this is the registration form. It's really complicated. It asks for your name and your address, how many employees you've got, your phone number and your email. I'm sorry it's really complicated, but we think you've probably got enough forms to fill in right now. I'll put the link to that form as well onto or Louise has already done it, onto the chat. As a business, all you need to do is fill in that form, send it in to us. What that means is anyone who is working for you can then contact the employment assistance scheme, and they will be offered access to a helpline, and if they need a further follow-up session, completely free of charge. Council's covering the costs of that on your behalf. All they need to do when they phone up that line is say, I work for whatever business, because by filling that form in, your business will have been registered to access the service. As I say, it's as simple as that. We won't be sharing any of the names of people who contact. We won't be sharing any of the information. It's personal to them, and whatever support they ask for will be given to them as an individual, not because they're part of any particular organisation, body, business, etc. So they need to be assured that it is completely anonymous. As I say, we are expanding the offer. It was being made to small local retail independent businesses within the county. As of this week, we're expanding that offer to anybody in the hospitality sector within the county of Warwickshire. So if you do need that help, if you think it will be useful, please register. We'd be delighted to help and support you. If you want to ask any questions, I know that you're very welcome to email me direct, and I can answer any questions. It is a big issue. We know people are facing some real tough decisions over this period of time, business-wise and family-wise. We also know that we've had a rise, as Paul will probably say, we have had a rise in people who are contemplating suicide. It's been an issue for us over the last few weeks. So we are particularly concerned about it. And that's why our expansion of our offer is being made. So I hope you take the opportunity of signing on the form, sending it in to us. Thank you.
Thanks, Jonathan. So if you are a business owner, there's nothing to stop you registering your business, making your staff aware that it's there. And when you fill out the form, you'll get an email back, and the email will include some posters that you can share with your colleagues or post up in common areas. So staff will see that, they can see it's confidential, and then it's just up to them to make contact if and when that they need that support. So thank you, Jonathan and Gemma, for that discussion. That's very helpful. Paul, did you put your hand up or you took it down?
Yeah, I just put my hand up. I just wanted to reiterate what Jonathan said, really. For everybody that's on the line or hears this later, you may not be aware of what your own staff issues may be in their own personal life and their own personal settings. So please don't assume that everybody's okay, because not everybody is happy to talk within the workplace about what their well-being or mental health is like. So please make sure your staff are aware of what Jonathan's just said. Make that offer to them, let them decide and take that up, register your business, etc. But please make sure your staff are aware, because they, I deal with my own staff, and I know, that they don't always tell you until it's too late sometimes, where it's gone to a point where it's really hard. So please, if anything, just make your staff aware of what that facility is, what that offer is, so they can make their own decisions and take up the offer, because it is really, really important. As police, obviously, we deal with people that are in crisis a lot of the time, and anything we can do to help people not get to that point is really, really important. So I just wanted to reiterate what Jonathan said and what Gemma said. It is really important that you do share with all your staff and and colleagues and things like that, and other businesses that you're aware of that might not be online. Make them aware, because it is a really important subject, especially at this time of the year with everything that's going on at the moment, with the disappointment of Tier 3. We really, really need to support our staff as well as yourselves as business owners. That was it basically, and thank you.
Okay, thanks, Paul. Gemma? Yeah,
I just want to say thank you, Paul. That was, really, really good to to hear that. And also I just wanted to kind of say on the website as well, that I showed you earlier, there is a link to bereavement support as well from those who've passed from COVID-19. I just wanted to touch on that really quickly. Obviously we know that there have been a lot of people passing, and you may well have staff, you may well have family members or friends who have, and if you are struggling with that, or any of your staff, there is that specific support available as well.
Yeah, thank you. So again, we'll share those links. See, we have done in the chat, but we'll share those at the end of the webinar as well. Okay, so that's covered the key topics we were looking to cover this morning. I just wondered if there was anything further that the panel wanted to talk about that hasn't been mentioned yet, or if there's any other questions from the floor. Paul, is that a new hand?
Yes, sorry, it is. Yeah, I just wanted to say from our perspective as police, obviously we're in tier 3 and everybody's really disappointed, and we're the same as everybody else. You know, we want to see Warwickshire as a thriving community with a happy community, etc. We're all disappointed. But what I will say is, obviously, we don't know what's going to happen on the 30th. We don't know what's going to happen 14 days after that. But please, as businesses, I say this every time, if you're preparing to open, because things may change, you know, with the next review and things like that, especially as we're going over the Christmas period, and a lot of people are away and things like that, please do consult with your local authorities as early as possible to get advice on things if you're unsure. But like I said, we're in such uncertain times, we don't know what's going to happen over Christmas, but it's really important that people engage with the authorities. So we do everything that's right. And if we do come out of tier 3 into tier 2 or tier 1 or whatever it may be, that we do it correctly and we do it right, we do it securely, so we stay in that tier, that we don't then go back up a tier because without outbreaks, etc., within businesses or communities and things like that. So it's really important that everybody works together on this as a Warwickshire community, businesses, residents, everybody works together to get us out of this tier 3, get us into a better tier, so hospitality can thrive, can have a business, can employ people, but we do it very, very safely, so we stay within that safe tier. That was it, basically. Thank you.
Thanks, Paul. Anthony.
Yeah, it's just to sort of add with regards to my perspective with regards to fire safety. As and when businesses, you do start going back to, for want of a better phrase, the new normality. We produced, back in the first lockdown, we produced a booklet, checklist, if you will, of things to look at as you return to your business with regards to fire safety on your premises. So to echo what everyone was saying, we're very, very keen for all businesses to get back and up and running and get going and moving forward. But obviously, from our perspective and everyone else's perspective, really want you to do that safely. So I'm going to put a link to that booklet in this chat in just a second. Our contact details are on at the end of it. Anything you want to ask us with regards to fire safety and your responsibilities under it, don't hesitate to contact us. We're always here to help and do what we can. So yeah, I'll put that link in now. But it's just to say that you know, there's some simple steps just to keep your premises safe, because obviously we want you to keep going and stay going, and we don't want your anything to happen to your business that beyond COVID and coronavirus will affect its progress and growth. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So I don't see any further questions in chat. I don't see any further hands up. So it may be that we've covered off everything we set out to on this webinar today, and answered any questions we've had from the floor. So this session today will be available to view on YouTube later So
Ian, you've got a hand up, just gone up from Anne Solomon.
Oh, Apologies. Anne.
Hi Ian, sorry to my camera's off, but it's to do with signal issues, so sorry about that. It was just to mention redundancy support, because obviously, sadly, we've got a lot of people being made redundant, and over the next few months it's going to be big in the back of their mind that it's a threat that may be coming. So I didn't know whether anybody from the county just wanted to make reference to the support that is available there.
Yes, so thanks, Anne. Yes, as you say, that partners across Coventry and Warwickshire are working together around the area of redundancy, and there is advice and information available. So we can share links to that. Don't feel as a business that you're on your own. There are people out there that you can speak to get the information and advice you need. Gemma?
Yeah, I just wanted to pick up on what Anne's just sort of said as well. Obviously, there's sort of two sort of separate sides of support, isn't there, with regards to redundancy? There's the obviously financial side of things, and then again the mental well-being side of things. So just to kind of say and reiterate, really, please do share the information that we've shared today around mental well-being and support, and if we can help in any way, just let us know.
Yes, thanks, Gemma. Yes, so that there's the emotional and wellbeing support, but there's also support from partners that work in skills and recruitment and business. So we will share those links at the end of the webinar. The recording will be available later today, and it will have a revised list of contacts as well at the end of the webinar. So do please share that with others if you found it useful today. So were there any final further comments from anybody from the panel?
Everyone's gone very quiet, haven't they? I note.
Yeah.
Glad Aaron's put his hand up. I'll make a final comment, not meant to be flippant to anybody, but this has been an unbelievable year, and very tough on our industries, particularly on hospitality. And you've been unbelievably patient and supportive, and I know many of you on this call today will have put a lot of measures in to make sure your business is safe and safe to reopen. We want to support you on this, and you know, personally, we're sorry that it has been such a tough year, but if there are businesses out there we can support in the future, please shout, please let us know. If any of these webinars are helpful, if you want to expand them, just come and tell us. When things change, we'll be the first ones there ready to give a hand to get you back up and running as best we possibly can. So personally, I shall be glad to see the back of 2020, and I very much hope that 2021 is a very different year for all of us, and whatever the future holds, at least it's something that we can hopefully work with you on and support you all on. So whatever festive greetings we can give you, but more importantly, let's look to a much different and much better 2021.
Thank you, Jonathan. Yes, well said. Paul, I see your hand's gone up. Aaron, did you want to say something before that?
It was just to reiterate everything that's been said about 2020 and looking forward to 2021. Always to remember that within every sector, we've all got customers. So retail, hospitality, we've got those great customers that come to us day in, day out, that will still come and use the hospitality sector. So it's about remembering that they're out there, talking to them, the doors might be closed, but they're all still out there. And actually, if we can nurture that community spirit, realise that all the hospitality can open up at some point, and when it does, it will be safe. Making sure that the retail and all the other businesses that are currently open that are safe, and doing so correctly to make sure we can get ourselves out of that tier 3 and into tier 2 so that the hospitality can open up. And it's just remembering that everyone is still out there, and we can still talk to them and encourage them back in when it's safe to do so.
Thanks, Aaron. Paul?
Yeah, just final point from me. And I know on previous webinars it's been raised, so it would be remiss of me not to mention it. Obviously, we've got the 5-day Christmas period where there's been some relaxation within the regulations. Just needed to reiterate really the fact that please don't forget within the hospitality sector and other sectors that whatever tier we're in, which will be tier 3, those rules still apply during that period for the hospitality, unfortunately. So yes, everybody can go and hug people and things like that obviously everybody's scared and worried about. But within the hospitality, it's still the regulations that we're under. So please don't slip into the thought that during that period, hospitality can open as normal. It doesn't change, unfortunately, for you guys. And again, I just reiterate what everybody else has said. We are here to help. We do want hospitality open. We do want to help you get out there and be safe, and the community to be able to enjoy what you offer. And we will work with you as best we can to make sure that happens when we can, and safely and securely for you, your staff, and for the community that come to you. Thank you.
Thanks, Paul. Okay, so a thank you for all those who joined the call today, and also for sharing it around your networks and partners. Thank you to the panel who prepared today and gave us an hour of their time. Busy at the moment, and yeah, a wish from us all that you have a good break if you take one over the next couple of weeks, and let's hope for a better and safer and prosperous 2021. So thank you all. Any questions, further questions, you can post them to business@warwickshire.gov.uk, and we'll post some useful links for you now at the end of the webinar. But thank you very much.
Thank you. Merry Christmas, everybody.
Thank you.